Hello, and welcome to Historical Humans Reads, where we take primary sources and bring them to your screen. I'm Colum Coleman, and today we are reading from the book that founded the modern war story, an overnight international bestseller from a time when books rarely crossed borders or languages. Giving rise to an entire literary genre, it is, of course, Erich Maria Remarque's All Quiet on the Western Front. Published in 1928, only to be banned in its native German 5 short years later, All Quiet on the Western Front is an expression of Remarque's own experiences as a soldier in the trenches of World War I. As such, it portrays with an unflinching mundanity the brutality and futility of war. Today we'll be reading from Chapter 1 of All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Maria Remarque. And with that, let's begin. We are at rest 5 miles behind the front. Yesterday we were relieved, and now our bellies are full of beef and haricot beans. We are satisfied and at peace. Each man has another mess tin full for the evening, and what is more, there's a double ration of sausage and bread. That puts a man in fine trim. We have not had such luck as this for a long time. The cook with his carroty head is begging us to eat. He beckons with his ladle to everyone that passes and spoons him out a great dollop. He does not see how he can empty his stew pot in time for coffee. Jaden and Mueller have produced 2 wash basins and had them filled up to the brim as a reserve. In Jaden, this is a veracity. In Mueller, it's foresight. Where Jaden puts it all is a mystery, for he is, and always will be, thin as a rake. What's more important still is the issue of a double ration of smokes, 10 cigars, 20 cigarettes, and 2 quids of chew per man. Now that's decent. I've exchanged my chewing tobacco with Kaczynski for his cigarettes, which means I have 40 altogether. That's enough for a day. It is true we have no right to this windfall. The Prussian is not so generous. We have only a miscalculation to thank for it. 14 days ago, we had to go up and relieve the front line. It was fairly quiet on our sector, so the quartermaster who remained in the rear had requisitioned the usual quantity of rations and provided for the full company of 150 men. But on the last day, an astonishing number of English field guns opened up on us with high explosive, drumming ceaselessly on our position, so that we suffered heavily and came back only 80 strong. Last night we moved back and settled down to get a good sleep for once. Kaczynski is right when he says it would not be such a bad war if only we could get a little more sleep. In the line, we have had next to none, and 14 days is a long time at one stretch. It was noon before the first of us crawled out of our quarters. Half an hour later, every man had his mess tin, and we gathered at the cookhouse, which smelt greasy and nourishing. At the head of the queue, of course, were the hungriest, little Albert Kropp, the clearest thinker among us, and therefore the first to be lance corporal. Mueller, who still carries his school textbooks with him, dreams of examinations, and during a bombardment murmurs propositions in physics. Lear, who wears a full beard and has a preference for girls from the officers' brothels. He swears that they are obliged by an army order to wear silk chemises and to bathe before entertaining guests of the rank of major and upwards. And as the fourth, myself, Paul Balmer. All 4 19 years of age, and all 4 joined up from the same class as volunteers for the war. Close behind us were our friends. Jaden, a skinny locksmith of our own age, the biggest eater of the company. He sits down to eat as thin as a grasshopper and gets up as big as a bug in the family way. Hey, Westus, of the same age, a peat digger, who can easily hold a ration loaf in his hand and say, "Guess what I've got in my fist?" Then Dittering, a peasant, who thinks nothing but of his farm and his wife. And finally, Stanislaus Kaczynski, the leader of our group, shrewd, cunning, hard-bitten, 40 years of age, with a face of soil, blue eyes, bent shoulders, and a remarkable nose for dirty weather, good food, and soft jobs. Our gang formed the head of the queue before the cookhouse. We were growing impatient, for the cook paid no attention to us. Finally, Kaczynski called out to him, "Say, Heinrich, open up the soup kitchen. Anyone can see the beans are done." He shook his head sleepily. "You must all be there first." Jaden grinned. "We are all here." The sergeant cook took no notice. "That may do for you," he said, "but where are the others? They won't be fed by you today. They're either in the dressing station or pushing up daisies." The cook was quite disconcerted as the facts dawned on him. He was staggered. "And I have cooked for 150 men." Crop poked him in the ribs. "Then for once we'll have enough. Come on, begin." Suddenly, a vision came over Jaden. His sharp, mousy fingers began to shine, and his eyes grew small with cunning. His jaw twitched, and he whispered hoarsely, "Man, then you've got bread for 150 men too, eh?" The sergeant cook nodded, absent-minded and bewildered. Jaden seized him by the tunic. "And sausage?" Ginger nodded again. Jaden's chaps quivered. "Tobacco too?" "Yes, everything." Jaden beamed. "What a bean feast. That's for all of us. Each man gets weighed a bit. Yes, practically 2 issues." Then Ginger stirred himself and said, "That won't do." Then we got excited and began to crowd around. "Why won't you do that, you old carrots?" demanded Kaczynski. 80 men can't have what's meant for 150. "We'll soon show you," growled Mueller. "I don't care about the stew, but I can only issue rations for 80 men, persisted Ginger. Kaczynski got angry. "You might be generous for once. You haven't drawn food for 80 men, you've drawn it for the second company." "Let's have it then. We are the second company." We began to jostle the fellow. No one felt kindly toward him, for it is his fault that the food twice came up to us in the line too late and cold. Under shell fire, he wouldn't bring his kitchen up near enough, so that our soup carriers had to go much further than those of the other companies. Now, Volke of the first company is a much better fellow. He is a fat hamster in winter, but he trundles his pots when it comes right up to the very front line. We were in just the right mood, and there would certainly have been a dust-up if our company commander had not appeared. He informed himself of the dispute and only remarked, "Yes, we did have heavy losses yesterday." He looked in the Dixie. The beans looked good. Ginger nodded. "Cooked with meat and fat." The lieutenant looked at us. He knew what we were thinking, and he knew many other things too, because he came to the company as a non-com and was promoted from the ranks. He lifted the lid from the Dixie again and sniffed. Passing on, he said, "Serve out the whole issue. We can do with it. And bring me a full plate too." This has been an excerpt from All Quiet on the Western Front on Historical Humans Reads. If you enjoyed this video and would like to hear more excerpts from original texts, please subscribe to be notified of the next one. If there is a work you would like to hear, be sure to like this video and leave a comment listing it below. Thank you for listening.